All right. Good afternoon. And welcome back to the War Chest Academy Live. This is where Mike and I come on every Thursday at 12:30 Eastern or thereabouts. I guess we're a couple minutes early today, but that's okay. Because these are, of course, recorded on our YouTube channel over at the Military Retirement Blueprint YouTube channel. So subscribe there and you can get updated anytime they're on there. And of course, we go live on LinkedIn, which is kind of how most people find us. Actually, a lot of people find us on YouTube, quite frankly, as well. So, real excited about that. We've got over about 1,200 subscribers on our YouTube channel. I don't know if you knew that, but
I did
we're
not.
looking forward to put more emphasis on that as we get our new website finished up in our new members area, which of course everybody's invited to. And what we do on this show is Mike and I have been at this for a number of years. We've been working with military retirees, getting out. It's all about income one way or the other. Getting a new job. What's my VA disability? What's my pension going to be? Should I stay in longer or not? And over the years, one of the things that comes up more often than not, of course, is this concept of saying, rather than, hey, show me how I can make more money in the stock market and build a bigger nest egg. Nobody comes to us saying, I want more numbers in my bank account. I just want it to look bigger, because that's obvious. We've of course want it to look bigger. What they tell us is they want to know that they have a steady stream of income when they're going to need it. And while we served in the military for 20 plus years, earns you that pension. We've come to find with inflation and everything, and the uncertainty of today's economy, it's typically not going to be enough. And there's great opportunities in this economy as well, especially for the military retirees. So that's what we think the true opportunity is at military retirement. It's taking those next 5-10 years and figuring out how you can generate more income beyond just the pension, of course. But at some point there is going to be a retirement. We know, or we like to kind of change the definition of traditional retirement. I like to use the phrase income independence. Who cares what the date and the age is? However, we live in an environment, in a system, where a lot of us have been in these certain types of retirement accounts for a long time. And we've been, learning about saving and investing, and maybe even dabbling and taking some losses, maybe watching the account go up. But it's always just stayed in that retirement account because the intention was never to touch it until age 60. So as we get into our 40s and 50s, the accounts get much bigger, in the six figures and mid six figures, oftentimes we see. And now if there's a 20% market correction, or just going to cause a lot more stress and then maybe you're used to. And of course, now you're closer to the time when you're actually thinking about using this money. And so, Mike, I'll start with this, because I know you hit on this often with us and people we're working with. Is just simply asking the question again, because we've been saving this money for years and years and years. What's the purpose? Right? And as we go through some of these concerns that come up, I think we always will come back to that question, right? What is the purpose?
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. And I ask the question, as you know, Scott, a lot, and very rarely does someone come back with a specific purpose. Mm-hmm. Most often they come back with, "I'm not exactly sure," and quite frankly, this is true of a lot of investors, not just our retirees, and specifically the TSP is. I was saving this because my CEO said save money in the TSP, and that's what I've been doing. And like to your point, now they've been doing this for 15, 20 plus years, and there's a significant balance in there. And so when I hear that and I have those conversations, I come back to the same message, really, which is you've done the hard work. You've done the heavy lifting. You've saved, prudently for 20 years. And now you have this nest egg. And now you think about what's next for that nest egg. And to your point, is it having the hottest stock in the stock market, or is it really protecting it? And what we talk about is, again, you've done the hard work. Now let's protect those dollars. We still need growth. You're only 45 or 50. You still need to grow the money. You've got 30, 40 years ahead of you. But what if we can take those dollars and protect them, number one, from losses? Everyone knows 2022, the market was down 20%. The TSP accounts got decimated. A lot of folks lost a lot of money. Then it came back a little bit last year. And then this year, it's kind of flattish. The last couple of weeks, it's been down. It's like up and down, up and down. And no one knows, right? No one has a crystal ball of what the future looks like. But what we do know is this. We do know that if we can protect those dollars against downside, if we can eliminate the drawdowns, still get good growth, 6 to 8% or so on the upside without the drawdowns, that's appealing, right? That's appealing, knowing that we can, again, put that safety net in place on that hard-earned savings.
No, right on. So, as we're talking with people, and especially in this last year, I think that's when things have started to kind of hit ahead in the economy, and we see the inflation. And I'll hit on this just a little bit because it's not just about inflation. The purchasing power. We're losing purchasing power. We're going to have to use more money to keep up with our lifestyle, right? And that's a function of course, however the federal funds rates work and how much money is the government printing and how money's, flowing through the economy. And ever since 2020, all those things, actually really since 2008, but then it really went on hyperdrive in 2020. But the second part of this, that's all the stuff in the news. You hear all that stuff all the time, red flags everywhere, world's coming down, crashing. But continues to go up. There's no prediction of what's going to happen. But where we can have a little bit more awareness on a prediction or a little bit more accuracy is looking at demographics rather than market performance, because market performance is depending on maybe there's a new technology we haven't even thought of yet, and that's going to become the next Google. Like nobody can predict that. But demographics go slowly, and we just know that the baby boomers, who have the majority of the money in the economy, they're the wealthiest, they have all the homes and the businesses and everything, they've been retiring for a number of years, but they're just getting older and unfortunately sicker. It's costing a lot, it's because of healthcare, but they're staying alive and they're not passing those assets as quickly down. But the other problem is because of the inflation, they're having to draw down more money out of their accounts as well, which can potentially have an effect on the stock market, because if they're pulling money out of the stock market, supply and demand, who's gonna when they're selling, who's buying? And that normally is the younger generations that are coming in, entering the economy. But we've all seen wages aren't keeping up. The millennials are barely, they can't buy houses and stuff right now. So they don't have the extra money necessarily to be thrown into their retirement accounts to keep the stock market going, as the baby boomers are pulling their money out. So it's this dilemma, because there aren't enough. We aren't having enough kids. So there aren't enough people to basically fund Social Security, fund the taxes and everything. And so that's the dilemma we're in trying to do any sort of financial planning. We can have our eggs, diversified amongst many baskets, of course. But what happens is when people are talking about diversification, they're talking about a portfolio diversification that's still kind of all tied to the economy. And so those are the various iterations of those concerns are what I'm hearing from people. And it's often has to do with, hey, the market went down, I didn't like seeing the money drop, or I honestly wasn't paying attention to this, and now I'm worried because I've got time now, and this is my majority account. This is the biggest account I've got saved. Still not planning to touch it till age 60. So how can I diversify it in a way that we're just locking it in and not having to worry about it anymore? And so that's what we're talking about with the private pension concept. That's what we call it. The idea is, all right, if you got your military pension that's guaranteed for life, and then you've got this retirement account asset, a bucket of money, whatever the value might be, what if we could turn that into a second pension right on top of your retirement pension that's also protected and guaranteed for life? And that's what a fixed index annuity is, designed properly, of course. And so Mike is our industry expert when it comes to these products, and I think you can probably show us an illustration here, Mike, of maybe a recent client we've had. Example, of course, won't share names of. Actually, why don't we remember the case study I wrote in the book of Aaron, my long-term client that I've had
Yeah.
15 years.
Yeah.
That's a good story because she's recently retired out of the Air Force and had been working with me for a number of years. And we had done the insurance strategy, the war chest, over 10, almost 15 years ago. And she built a nice asset there and didn't have to worry about SPP, and it was all taken care of. But now, late 40s, and has a really great job, real good military pension, and a big TSP account. She said, "Hey, I'm not into the whole stock market thing. I really like the idea of this annuity. Let's just lock this in, and then I can, focus on living my life and moving on to the next thing." So I think that was a good case study. Her main concern was just not wanting to worry about it or deal with it, for that matter, right? Not have to manage it every year, get updates, do portfolio balance, and it's just, I've saved the money. Glad I did that, but managing it or hiring a money manager to manage it, all those are extra steps, extra layers, extra costs, extra potential places to make mistakes, actually.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and I think it makes a lot of sense to step through it. So the carry my kind of my story forward, and then we will look at some numbers. Is again, you've done the hard work, you've done the heavy lifting, you've saved the money. To Scott's point, can we turn that into a second pension? A second pension that also provides guaranteed lifetime income. But what's cool about this one is the dollars are going to grow pretty well. They're going to get about a 6 to 8% return on average, no downside risk. So that's meaningful. So the market goes down, we have zero, roughly 6 to 8 on average per year. But the real story is, again, guaranteed lifetime income. So when you're ready, you flip the switch and you get a paycheck in your mailbox every month for the rest of your life. And what's cool about the annuity is it has what's called an increasing income. So what is that? So anytime we do have a positive return in this contract, in this fixed indexed annuity, the income goes up by the same percentage. So it's up 5%, the income goes up 5%. If it's up 2%, the income goes up 2%. Remember, worst case place is zero, and it just stays the same. So every single year for the rest of your life, you'll get exactly the same income or more, never less, never goes down, and again, guaranteed as far as you and or your spouse shall live.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I'll go ahead and pull something up here real quick and share with you guys. I think it's a pretty cool story. Let's see. All righty. You see my screen okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. I kind of cut the top off so we can protect the innocent here, Aaron, so to speak. But this is Aaron. Aaron's been a client of Scott's for a long time. And she retired last year, or I think it was actually earlier this year. Oh no, December. And she had about 190,000 in her TSP. And Aaron, like a lot of folks, are like, yeah, I want to protect it, I want to grow it, and I want a guaranteed income from this bucket of money. Because her objective, like a lot of our clients, are, look, I'm out mid 40s, early 50s of my military service. I'm too young not to sit on my butt. I'm too young. I want to go do something. I'm working in the private sector. I want to work in a defense contract. I want to do my own business, whatever it happens to be. But that's usually a window, right? And that's usually, we always talk about that 10-year window. You get out at 50, you work 10 years, and then you're done. And now you've got, then you've given back to, you've built more assets, you've given back to your chosen profession, you've done those things for you and your family. And at that point, between the military pension, this secondary private pension, potentially some VA disability dollars, you would be able to enjoy the remainder of your life without having to worry about cash flow, which is as Scott says, income independence. Cool. So this product, again, it's a fixed indexed annuity. The company is called Athene. Just by way of explanation, our firm represents every annuity company in the industry, and my job is to identify the most appropriate solutions. Athene has been number one in this space, I think 7 out of the last 8 years. So they are the market leader. And what there's a number of features I like about this specific contract called Agility 10. Number one, what I like about it is we get a nice bonus on the money we put in. So in this case, she has 191,551, just under 200K in her TSP that we're rolling over. The bonus on that is 45%. 45%. So down on the left of my screen there, you'll see a bonus of 86,198. That's 45% of that number. So the first question is, 45% sounds ridiculous. How do I get that? I want to be crystal clear. This is not money you can put in your pocket and walk away. It goes to something called the benefit base. And what is that? The benefit base is the bucket of money, and we'll get to the numbers in a minute, that drives the income. So basically, you get a boost to drive the income. Day one, and that stays with you indefinitely. The second thing we like about this contract specifically, there's no fees. There's no fees. So what's the trade-off? The trade-off is this is meant for folks that have a 10-year or more time horizon. Because what the rule with this contract is, you have to defer 10 years prior to initiating lifetime income. Okay, so in exchange for waiting that period of time, we get a nice bonus and we get no fees. So that's what we like about it. It's not perfect for everyone, but for anyone 50 years of age or under, we generally want to talk about age 60 due to the early withdrawal penalties pre-59.5. We'd rather wait. Now, can we get the money out prior to? Absolutely. And we'll talk about the liquidity in a minute. But the reality is 50 or younger, I'm going to look at this contract. I get a huge bonus. I get no fees, and I get guaranteed income that increases over time. So that's really what we love about it. What we're looking at here in the middle of the screen are the index options, or some of the index options available in this contract. So just as a reminder, fixed indexed annuity. The index part means, how does my money grow? Your money grows based on the growth or performance of one or more indexes. The S&P 500 is an index of the 500 largest stocks in the U.S. stock market. One of these options, this bottom one that says SPX, is the S&P 500. That is an option. The one right above it is an index managed by UBS, the Swiss bank. So there's another S&P version. This one's another index managed by Bank of America, et cetera, et cetera. So basically, these are indexes that are designed to be low volatility. We don't need to hit the cover off the ball here. We need to get that 4 to 6, 6 to 8% per year growth, no downside risk. So we design these things for very long-term and very stable growth. And this is the breakdown we're looking at for this particular contract. I'm going to go down to the second page and just going to go to these are several of the indexes that we are utilizing. So what we do is we back test, we evaluate this. We run scenarios of almost 6,000 scenarios to make sure we're efficient on these indexes. And a couple of things to look at: what's the percentage of scenarios with gains? Of that 5,800 scenarios, a significant percentage of them have gains. So that's really what we're looking for. The second column, maybe the most important column, probability of a zero. Remember, zero is our worst case. Probability of zero, pretty darn low. I mean, you're going to get a zero 1 out of 4 times on the Bank of America one. This one's only going to get zero 1 out of 100 times. I like that. So, and 99 times, the inverse of that, getting a positive gain. And then on the far right-hand side is the average annual return over time. And again, like I say, 6 to 8, it's done a little bit better than that. So this is kind of the indexes we're utilizing here.
So let me pause you right there, Mike, and talk about the idea of this contract compared to, because a lot of times this is the first time people have heard about these. They've heard the word annuity, but annuity is just a stream of income. That's the definition, or essentially, of an annuity. Your pension, your military pension's a stream of income, an annuity in a sense. SBP is an annuity payment, but an annuity is from a life insurance company, so it's also a contract, and that's how they can offer the guarantees, and also why they require the kind of 10-year waiting period. And so, but it often gets, if we're rolling over a TSP or a Roth IRA, for example, then of course that money's coming from a portfolio. Maybe it's a mutual fund, or maybe it's a series of index fund or ETFs. And so, I guess my question is, when we're thinking about, an index fund, versus these indexes. We just
Ah,
want to be very clear
yeah,
that we're not invested in the index. Your money is not at risk.
yeah,
And that's why we have worst case scenario of 0 down year. Now, how does the insurance company do that? They're essentially buying insurance on the indexes, which protects your account, but that means we don't get all the upside. So that's the other trade-off. We for the 0 downside risk, getting a little bit of trade-off on the upside, and
yeah.
we're okay
No,
with that because of the guarantees. Or you want to hit on that a little bit more, Mike?
yeah, no, that's a very good point, and I'm glad you brought that up. So the question I would ask if I'm looking to buy this is,
Mhm.
where's my money? Where's my
Yeah.
money set? Am I investing in the stock market or am I not? With these indexed annuities, the dollars we save and invest are never in the market. The dollars are what's called the general account of the insurance company. That's generally a giant bucket of money. I think the general account for Athene is something like $300 billion. So it's a giant bucket of money. And the insurance company manages that giant bucket of money for millions and millions of annuitants over a very long-term period of time. They've been doing it for 50 years now. So, but we pick an index as a proxy, as kind of a marker, if you will, on how our dollars grow. For example, any one of these indexes, they look at a point in time. They look at a point now, a point a year from now. If the index is up, we get growth. If that index is down, like the S&P was down in 2022, you'd have a 0. So because you're not directly in the stock market, you're just using these indexes to determine your growth. That's how we're protected from the downside. And you'll see on my screen here again that one of the other columns I didn't see, worst 2-year performance. This is a 2-year index, 0. That's our worst. We know there's no downside. And the best 2-year performance has been substantial, and the average is most meaningful. So again, the idea with this strategy, because we're not in the market, that's why we don't have market-based risks. That's a good point.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. So I'm going to jump down to the math here, guys. And so I'm just going to look at, this is based on what this index annuity did over the most recent 10-year period. If you see the top left of my screen, the numbers we're looking at, they're not guessing or speculating. It's literally, if you would have owned this contract over the last 10 years, this is the performance you would have received. So here's some valuations in here. I'm looking at the far right-hand side of the screen initially. There's a cash surrender value. There's an accumulated value. There's a benefit base, and then there's that death benefit. The death benefit and the accumulated are the same. What that means is, let's say this particular individual did this transaction today, and God forbid, at the young age of 48, something were to happen to her, car wreck, plane crash, hit by a bus, then the dollars would go, $200,000 would go to her family. So again, we are always protecting the asset. We never lose control of the money. And that's another thing that people hear, annuity, they think I'm giving my money to this insurance company. If I die early, I lose. And that's not how this works. We always control the asset. So that surrender value is your liquidity. So at any time, for any reason, you can take out 10% of that if you need liquidity. Okay. So that without canceling the contract, without paying a penalty. Take more, you can get more than that if you want, but there are surrender charges involved in the first 10 years. But that's kind of how that works. And then you'll notice I started taking income for this client at age 60. Okay. Age 60, the first year income was $29,000 based on the 191 she started with. Pretty good return. That year, we had a positive return in this indexes of about 3.6%. The next year, her income went up 3%, went from 29 to 30. The next year was a bigger year. We had a 24% return. The income goes from 30,000 to 37,000, so it went up by 24.05%. Here's the 0 year. Here's our worst case year. On a worst case year, the next year, paycheck's exactly the same. So again, every year you either get the same you got last year or likely more, and it never goes down and it never goes backwards. So again, same story, up 3, 0 stays the same, etc. This is cumulative. So cumulative at age 71, 72, she's gotten about $567,000 back in income. Remember, she started with $191,000. But this doesn't continue. I'm going to move this forward to the next page so we can move it a little longer in the deal. Now she's in her 70s, 75. The income that year is $97,000 in that 1 year. 120 in her 80s, 100 and almost $200,000 in her late 80s per year. So this number on the right is cumulative income. So let's say that she lives to the ripe old age of 94. She started with $191,000. She's taken 4.4 million in income. The other thing I want to point out here, you see the zeros on the right-hand side of my screen. There will be a point in the future where we've taken out significantly more income than we've put in. In this case, it was $820,000. So again, we started 191. She's taken 820 out over this period of time. At that point, there's no more value in the contract. Everything's zeroed out. There's no more value. But this is a lifetime income benefit. So even when the account values go to zero, that income continues. She continues to get income for as long as she lives. If she dies, whatever she passes away, the income stops. Passed away at 85. The last year's paycheck was $188,000. Again, she makes it all the way down here. She got $330,000. So this is cumulative, but anytime that this income does continue for life. Last thing, what happens if she passes away early? I'm going to go back a page here, make her a little younger, and I don't know, let's say age 70, something happens and she passes away. Any dollars that have not been paid to her pass to her family. So again, we never lose control. The money either comes to you as income for life, or it goes to your family at your passing. So if she passes away at age 70, again, she started with 191,000. She's taken out a 442,000, and there's still around 300,000 in death benefit that goes to her family. So again, live a long time, income goes for life. Live a long time, income goes for life. Die early, the money goes to your family.
And Mike, of course, the question that comes is, how on earth can they possibly do this? And it's because we're looking 50 years down the road.
Right.
Again, they've got 300 billion. They're making profits on that 300 billion. Of course, the insurance company is making their money, right? This is a win-win-win for everyone involved, including us. We're brokers involved in the deal. That's the whole reason we're doing these education seminars. But and we'll explain how all that works, of course. But they've done actuarial. Of course, they know that a large percentage of their people won't live as long, sadly. But therefore, that projected income when the numbers do go to zero, they've got assets and of course new money coming in. And what is it? 9 out of 10 people who start a contract stay with it.
Yeah.
It's not like investment funds where people are moving money back and forth all the time. So. And that 300 billion in the general account, it's not like Wall Street. They're not out there reinvesting the money, other stuff. It's literally just sitting there in their account, with long-term investment grade bonds.
Yeah, it's 90% AAA bonds is where the actual money sits. And they're looking to earn 4.5 on that. So between what they earn on that and the longevity, knowing again that they'll have this person's money for 40 plus years or more, that's how it's profitable for the insurance company. That's the right question to ask. If the too good to be true thing that comes up all the time. So I love addressing it. And I always say the same thing. Once again, I put myself in the insurance company's shoes. They got the deep pockets. How are they making this available to us? And the insurance companies use something called the law of large numbers, meaning they have literally millions and millions of annuitants, and the money, people are coming in, they're paying income, they're coming in, they're paying income, they're building their coffers, they're earning money on that money, and that's what they do. And I'm happy to share the financials. They're a A-rated company, and they're extremely well capitalized, and so this is what they do, and they're the best at it, and that's why we use them.
Awesome. Well, let me we'll close out here. I'll share some of the things we're working on, where you can go learn more about this. Of course, if you come on our website, I'm going to be cleaning this up a lot. I'll make got a lot of great info here. I was trying to figure out how to present it, so I just put it all in here. But I'll be streamlining it in the future. But for now, if you go to the military retirees page, you can download this book. And short read, take about an hour to read. And we go through a lot of things that we talked about today in a lot more detail. And from there, hit us up. We can get on a call. Happy to chat in more detail and see if we can make a private pension fit for you, which
Yeah.
we think.
Yeah, I think the close. Everyone's situation is different, right? And what Scott and I love to do is look at you, look at your family, look at your objectives, look what you have, and come up with solutions to protect you and your family indefinitely. That's what we do. We're the safe money guys. You know, we're not trying to pick the hot stock and those kind of things. What we do is protect what we've already created. And the biggest assets for our clients generally are twofold. TSP, yes, you know, 300, 400, 500 grand, maybe more, maybe less. Significant TSP monies. That's the biggest liquid. The biggest asset's the pension, right? Your biggest asset for sure is your pension. I mean, we've seen the math, $2-3 million over your lifetime is the value of that pension. So let's make sure that's protected as well. And then that's exactly what we love to do. So yeah, I look forward to helping you guys.
Yeah, if you want to, you can come to, actually, for both of these things, you can come to books and courses here under resources. And if you do want to learn about protecting more of the pension, come get our War Chest book. So both of these are up on Amazon as well. And if you sign up, you'll be on our newsletter. We'll send you an email once a week, some tips and insights that'll keep us top of mind for whenever you're ready to chat or ask some questions when you have them. Because we realize if you are in the middle of your military retirement, these questions are going to come up. But sometimes you got to do it in a small window, and you're trying to go through VA disability, find a new job. We get the stress of it. We've had this conversation with hundreds and hundreds of military retirees. So we've probably seen your situation, and we think we can help you make those decisions, whatever's best for you. We just want to help you make a more stress-free decision so you can focus on that next job, new career, spending more time with your family. And when it comes to whether it's the TSP or the SBP decision, if you're looking for safety and security, this can be a simpler solution than managing a portfolio, trying to find all these different financial and investment advisors. Not saying don't use them. If you got one, we're happy to collaborate and consult and work with them as well and introduce this as part of your overall portfolio. That's we think you're in a position at. You're earning good income, probably saved well. You can take a lot of risk off the table.
And I'll close with a quick story about that. One of the clients we're working with right now, Scott, that he's big into the crypto. He loves the crypto, and crypto's been on a roll, and that's great. But he said to me, Mike, I can be aggressive with my crypto, and hope for the best. But if I lose, I know I got my nest egg protected with you guys. And that's what he said to me, and I love iterating that. That's the story here. Let's protect the foundation and allow you to do what you need to do elsewhere. So that's really the foundation of your retirement. The foundation of your family protection is really what we focus on.
Yeah, and that's the whole idea of the war chest approach. So we've got a lot of info. Learn more about what we do. We know we're slightly different than the traditional model, but that's the benefit of it. We're going to be a fresh approach, and we hear that often. It's like, oh, you guys do it differently. It's cool. All right, we will see you next week. Hit us up if you got questions you want us to answer on these shows and future episodes, and we will do so.
Thanks, Take care. Yep.